the state against the people. How power turned Kenya into a theater of pain, repression, and class war. 2025. Listen, Kenya is not a country tonight. It's a stage. Floodlights over Nairobi, sirens for soundtrack, tear gas as stage smoke curling above Nairobi River, as if the city itself is being rehearsed for war. They call it reform, we call it survival. Who writes this script? Somewhere in an air-conditioned boardroom far from Kibra, tin roofs and Kangemi's cramped rooms, men in suits sign documents with pens heavier than bullets. They call it fiscal consolidation, debt sustainability, foreign investment. But in Kawangware, it arrives as unga prices, bus fare hikes, KPLC tokens that die in the middle of supper. A mother lying to her children, "Eat, I am not hungry." Ask yourself, Kenya, how did we become extras in our own story? How did hustlers become statistics lined up in a bar graph and PowerPoint slides while the architects of our hunger fly overhead in military choppers to launch projects that never finish? Look at the city. Matatu graffiti shouting, "No human is limited," while conductors count coins that vanish into taxes, levies stacked like concrete on the backs of the poor. In the CBD, riot police stand in formation, shields like iron curtains between power and the people. On TV, they say, isolated incident, necessary force, criminal elements infiltrating peaceful protests. In the morgue, the language is simpler. A tag, a number, a cause of death that smells of lies and tear gas. Kenya, can you hear the echo of the old colonial whip in the boots of modern police? The flag changed color and the anthem changed words, but the script stayed the same. Then they said native administration. Now they say security operation. Then they called it pacification. Now it's restoring order. The uniform changed. The orders did not. In the estates, whispers move faster than Wi-Fi. They picked him last night. CID walimchukua kwa plot. Alitroll wrong person on X. Aliuliza swali mbaya online. Tweets turn into case fines, memes turn into charges, sarcasm is rebranded as cybercrime, and suddenly freedom of expression comes with a price tag and a court date. We were told we are all equal before the law, yet some walk with entire scandals dripping from their suits, unpaid billions, ghost tenders, land that grew from nothing overnight, and they never see the inside of a cell. Meanwhile, a mama mboga stall is demolished in the name of beautification. A hawker's goods are confiscated for blocking the walkway. A border rider is beaten for disobeying traffic rules. The law is a machete that always seems to fall on the softest necks. This is not just corruption. This is class war with a Kenyan accent. They tax the airtime you use to call for help. They tax the bread you buy for your children. They tax the fuel that carries you to jobs that don't even pay. They do not tax the foreign consultant who arrives for 3 days, writes a report, and leaves with a suitcase of dollars and a contract for more support. In Nairobi's towers, the rich drink cocktails with men who call themselves development partners, while somewhere in Turkana, a child drinks water the color of rust. IMF letters arrive like ancestral curses. Parliament debates how much more blood a shilling can squeeze from a farmer in Nyeri, a factory worker in Thika, a security guard in Rongai, with 3 side hustles and 1 failing heart. Kenya, how many times will you watch your children march into clouded streets chanting Hatutaki only for their voices to dissolve in smoke? How many bodies must kiss stomach before you admit this is not mismanagement? It is a system where dreams are collateral, citizens are liabilities, and the national anthem is background music for budget speeches that sound like funeral eulogies for a future that never arrived. And still, they sell us illusions. Shiny, expressive highways you can't afford to drive on, affordable housing you will only ever see in brilliant billboards and drone shots, smart city projects where the only smart thing is how cleverly they hide who profits and who pays. We scroll past influencer videos telling us to believe in the dream and trust the process while the process puts food in one supermarket and empties an entire village granary. So, what do, my people? We stop acting like this is random. We stop calling it bad luck when it has blue lights, sirens, and a budget line. We name it. We call it state violence, class warfare, neo-colonial economics, wearing kitenge at national days. We trace the lines from foreign loans to local arrests, from IMF conditions to tax rates in the slums, from investor confidence to worker starvation. And then we learn political education, not just vibes, not just hashtags, but history, not just outrage, but organization, not just them are thieves, but how they steal, who writes the laws that make the theft legal. We sit in chama meetings and talk about more than rotating savings. We sit in universities and discuss more than exams. We sit in churches and mosques and whisper about justice louder than we whisper about miracles. We teach our children that citizenship is not just voting every 5 years, but asking hard questions every single day. Kenya, this theater of pain, only works if we keep playing our roles in silence. The first act of rebellion is to see the stage, to recognize the script, to refuse the costume of peace-loving citizens that means quiet victim. When we understand that the state as it stands is not a neutral referee, but a weapon in a war against the poor, then the fear shifts. We stop fearing the shield and baton, and we start fearing our own ignorance, because once we learn, once we connect the dots, this theater will tremble, curtains will rip, microphones will fall, and the people, hungry, bruised, awake, will step into the stage, not as victims but as authors. And that, my people, is the chapter they never wanted us to write. Thanks for watching. Share and subscribe.